Hey guys, welcome to another Shurhold Clean and Simple Tips, and I've got a Blackjack Bay Boat with me here in the studio today. And this is my buddy Ryan's boat, and he called me over the weekend because he was just struggling with the boat because, as you can see, he's got these horrible, what look like water spots on the boat, and he could not get these out. He was working all that elbow grease by hand with a little bit of cleaner wax, and he's like, how can I get this out? Now, what I always tell anybody is it's hard for us to tell you over the phone exactly how to attack your project because unless we see it in person, we don't know exactly what it is. But we're going to teach you today how to figure out what you need to do, and we're going to take you through the testing process. Now, kind of lucky for us or unlucky for us, this boat needs to make it pretty far through that process. So you're going to get to see all the testing steps we do to do that. And what we're going to do is we're going to teach you to start with the least aggressive method and work your way up to the most aggressive method. And once you find the method in between that works for you, that's where we're going to stop from our test spot, and you can finish and do the whole boat because then you've got your process down. So we're going to get Captain Sam in here on camera to take you through those steps, and let's get started right now.
Shurhold, clean and simple.
All right, guys, so the first thing I do whenever I show up to a boat like this is I'm going to do a visual inspection and see just kind of what we're working with here. And as Barry mentioned, this thing has some really terrible water spotting, and I'm assuming I'm going to have to use some pretty heavy stuff to actually cut through this. But I don't want to have to remove a lot of gel coat unless I absolutely have to. So what I usually start with is with our original dual action polisher and Buff Magic in an area we're going to call our test spot. Now, the test spot is there to act as a proof of concept. If you can make your boat look as good as you want to in that small area, then the rest of the boat can be done the same way. And I hate to see people attack an entire hull side with one step and realize that it wasn't the right choice for their boat. So it's always good to start with the test spot. We've picked a pretty obvious area. Typically we recommend a little bit more inconspicuous to make sure that the process works for you, but we're confident in our methods and we think this is going to work for us. So in your case, maybe do an area on the transom or somewhere that's not going to be as visual. Now, as far as we get started here, I'm going to go ahead and make off my little taped area. All right, guys, so as you can see, inside this area, we have stuff that's going to be reminiscent of everywhere else on the boat. We have a black hole with some pretty heavy water spotting, and I'm going to attempt to correct this using the lightest method first, which would be our dual action polisher, Buff Magic, and a foam Buff Magic compounding pad. So let's get started. All right, so we apply Buff Magic using our chip brush, going a small X over the surface area here. Buff Magic is a pretty strong compound, so a little bit goes a long way. You don't need a lot. And grab my dual action polisher. You can see this one's been used already. Now the goal is to use as little pressure as possible while we're doing this. We don't want to cut in the gel coat any more than we have to, but we do need to remove the water spots. So I'm going to start at a speed setting of 3 and ramp it up as I go along if I'm not getting the results that I need. Start with the machine by rubbing it around a little bit, spreading the compound. You don't want it to splatter everywhere. And turn the machine on only when the pad is resting against the surface. Here we go. All right, now that we've worked it in, I actually like the results that I'm seeing, so I'm going to remove any excess compound with a clean microfiber towel, and we're going to check out our results. As I come in tight here, we learned that the dual action polisher did a pretty good job of removing most of the water spotting on this part of the hull. I can see there's a couple spots that are left behind, but generally that's the results that I'm looking for. All right, so as I'm checking out this area, this is really bad. This is probably as bad as anywhere else on the boat. So my goal here is I'm going to test this spot too, because I'm afraid that the dual action polisher won't be able to cut into that. So I'm going to start with the dual action polisher. We always start as least aggressive as possible and work our way up. But this is an area that I want to make sure that the same process we used back there will work up here. So I'm going to start again by taping off this area. Just like last time, we grab our Buff Magic and apply it in a small X. It goes a long way, less is more. Grab the dual action polisher and work at the same speed setting we did on the last spot just to confirm. For instance, we used 3 on the last one. We'll start with 3 here and spread out the compound and give it a buff. So I'm already seeing that it's not cutting very well, so I'm going to go ahead and up the speed slightly, up to 5. and go ahead and see if that'll maybe remove these water spots. But I think we'll have to go a little bit more aggressive in this spot here. And as you guys can see, there's still some pretty heavy water spotting in here. So I don't think that's going to be removable by using a dual action polisher. All right, so because this area needs a little bit more heat, pressure, power to actually remove these water spots, I'm going to go ahead and step it up to the rotary polisher. So I'm going to work in exactly the same way that I did before. I simply grab my Buff Magic, apply it in a small X, I grab my rotary polisher and a wool pad, and I change the speed on this one in RPMs up to 2100 RPMs. I think that's probably a good speed for this hull. But remember, this is only testing. So I grab it, same with the dual action polisher, pat it around slightly, and you're going to work in just this area, keeping the machine working back and forth. Those look like the results that we're looking for. So I'm going to again remove any excess compound. All right, I'm really liking how this is turning out. I think the rotary polisher is going to be the way to go. I'm going to check and see, because here's the area that we buffed versus the area that's unbuffed on this side, and actually look at the transition between these two. And you can see that the rotary really took out those water spots. I mean, that's like night and day. So I think just for the simplicity of getting this boat done quickly and efficiently, a rotary polisher is definitely going to be the way to go. Now, I'm going to probably finish with a dual action polisher, and here's why. A dual action polisher will remove something that's induced by the rotary called holograms, which are especially prevalent on a dark colored hull like this. They're very unforgiving, and a rotary can leave something that looks like a shiny oil slick up and down the hull. So I'm going to remove that and any other defects that I induce by the rotary polisher by finishing with the dual action, and we should be able to get this thing knocked out really, really quickly. So let's get started. All right, so we had just finished up with our last pass with the dual action polisher, and we have this thing looking like a mirror. It is perfect, perfect, perfect. There are no more water spots. There's no more crazing, hazing, oxidation of any kind. And that's just one pass with the rotary and one pass with the dual action polisher for perfect results in a black hull. This thing is ready for a layer of wax.
Wow, can you see that reflection? That looks absolutely amazing. Captain Sam, as usual, did an amazing job. As you saw, we ended up doing just our buff magic to bring out those spots, but the regular dual action polisher wasn't quite enough for it. It needed something a little bit more aggressive, so Sam went to a wool pad on a rotary polisher. A little bit harder of a technique, but it made quick work of this. The boat got done in just a few hours without an issue. He then came back with the dual action polisher, and what that did is it got rid of any possibility of any type of little swirls or holograms or anything like that, and then a quick coat of our Pro Polish to make it just absolutely pop and beautiful. So this is fully protected now, ready for my friend to go back out on the water, and hopefully next time he won't stick this next to a sprinkler or whatever did that to the sides of the boat, because you know, when we first got it, we thought, oh, this was going to be easy, just some water spots, we'd buff them out with the dual action polisher. But that's why you test your process, so you don't kill yourself. Someone else could have spent the whole day trying to work with just a dual action polisher on the side, or as my friend did, even by hand, and he only got some of it off, and that was a wasted day. So really, take your time, figure out your process, work in a small area. Once you got that area right, take that knowledge and do the whole boat. Until next time, I'm Barry Burhoff with Shurhold, helping you keep your boat clean and simple. Really? Sam must be messing with me. There we go. Clean and simple.